Greetings programs and welcome back, I suppose it would be appropriate to say, to FTL, which I haven't actually played on the channel for a while, or indeed just played for a while full stop. If you're wondering why I am showing you it now, however, well, it's really because of this. Into the Breach. I was actually gifted Into the Breach, which is the follow-up game, or not follow-up the game, the next game that the guy that made FTL published. And that was actually gifted to me by a viewer, Ginge_UK, and I've played that a bit, and it's a different game, but there's enough similarities in the game design that it got me hankering to play FTL again. And so I reinstalled FTL, and then I reinstalled the Captain's Edition mod, and I was poking around the mod page and looking at the various sub-mods that are available, and one of them is called just the Captain's Edition Infinite submod, and it basically turns Captain's Edition FTL into more of a sandbox experience. It drastically changes the pace of the game, and I thought I'd give it a go, and it's been quite fun actually, so here we are. I must confess though, it took me an embarrassingly long time to realise how you actually progress, because at the moment, we jump to the sector map, it says Sector 2. I spent absolutely ages in Sector 1 facing extremely easy enemies, or they got to be quite easy enemies because I have upgraded my ship a fair bit at this point. And I didn't realise that once I got to the exit, and we'll see when we get there exactly how it works, but you get the option of just jumping forwards, and you can basically continue on in each sector for as long as you want essentially, or you can jump to the next sector at the cost of 10 fuel. So apart from anything else, you have to get enough fuel to jump to the next sector to up the difficulty level. But it took me a really long time to realise that, so I was jumping along and upgrading the ship and thinking, how come these enemies aren't really getting any more difficult? And that's why. So, I'm in a Lanius ship. This is a rather nebula heavy sector, as you can see. I've got a full crew, I've got drone control, I've got a hacking module, and all in all I've managed to get a fairly decent amount of upgrades already, but it's going to be a while before I can get the 4th level of shields, which I'll actually just show you here in this empty sector. This is all Captain's Edition stuff, by the way. We might get an event out of this, but it'll probably just be flavor text as it is there. So yeah, the scaling is very different in this. The costs, as you can see, like some of the bars are bigger. There's more capacity for upgrades than there is in the standard edition, but not with the reactor, so you're going to have to juggle your reactor bars, your power bars, even more so. But you can also see how much more expensive some of these upgrades are, so it would be nice to add a couple more bars to weapon control, for example, but that's getting pretty pricey. And the same with adding extra shield capacity. It's going to take a while before I get enough scrap to do that. So, there we are. There's my ship, there's my weapons. I've got a reasonably rounded setup. I've got missiles, I've got drones, I've got a defense drone, I've got a hacking station, so I can pretty much handle most things that come at me. And this is not going to be like this is not me starting a series here, this is me just more doing a showcase of this particular mod and the Infinite sub-mod to go along with it. Because Captain's Edition came out in 2013, I mean the game itself's been out since 2012, and the development is, you know, current and active of Captain's Edition basically. The previous most update was in like April, May, something like that, a couple of months ago basically. So yeah, it's very much still being worked on, which is not unimpressive. So we're being attacked by an automated rebel scout who is hacking my command console, and we can actually we don't have to, but I could spend a droid to counter hack that, and that should knock out theirs, I think. I'm not entirely sure how it works. I've not done it before. Oh, we have intruders. How do we have intruders? I don't know. But we can activate our anti-personnel drone, who will go and take care of it. And oh, well, there we go. Because we're in a nebula, it's hard to see what's the security camera control is impaired, but of course our drone just knows where to go. If you're wondering about these, by the way, oh, didn't open that door. Yeah, they're kind of like, you know, Rimmer from Red Dwarf. They're basically Rimmer from Red Dwarf. They're like hard light hologram things. They're a bit like NG. They can. They're sort of a mix between NG and Lanius. Actually, they can exist in a vacuum just fine because they're basically, you know, hologram things. But at the same time, they don't do a lot of damage, and they've got the same level of hit points as an NG. In fact, less. They have 50. So they're not very good at actual combat. Anyway, I'm probably hilariously overpowered for this particular opponent. Because I spent so long in that first sector just jumping through from screen to screen and thinking, how come the enemies aren't getting any more difficult? And it took me so long to realise. So long. However, it's not necessarily, you know, a bad thing to go through and grind scrap and see what interesting parts you can discover, just because the progression is so different, and getting those high level things takes so much scrap. A mantis ship. Well, we can choose not to be assholes, and so we will do that. I'm going to take some slightly circuitous routes, because you actually get a bit more time, you know, you get a few more jumps to work with than regular FTL before the rebel fleet starts sweeping across, and you also have, of course, the fact that we're in a nebula, so that's going to have an effect as well. Right, they want 10 fuel for 2 missiles. I have so many missiles because I wasn't using missile weapons for so long, and this maybe gives you some idea of how long I spent in that first sector. So yeah, we'll trade 10 fuel for 2 missiles. That's a very nice trade indeed. Hopefully we'll find a store at some point as well, because I've got some things I can sell. Socialise with the crew. Let's pick the NG crew member. And we've got on a free drone template, which is quite nice. There are other things you can do during those interludes as well, if you have appropriate equipment, or like there's trade items in the game in Captain's Edition, but the thing is they take up augment slots. And it's like, I really like the setup I have at the moment with the augment slots. Rebel ship, yes, we'll go for the Filthy Rebels, which I can't look at, I can't show you just now, but it's basically a scrap collecting arm which increases the amount of scrap, and that offsets the repair arm, which gets me a decreased amount of scrap, but actually as a result it repairs the hull after every encounter. So I'm going to put on my defense drone, because I think that's is that a missile launcher? No, that is a thing that my defense drone does not help against at all, so I've just wasted defense drone, never mind. But what we can do is we can charge, the laser is almost charged, hit them right in the missiles, and then we can hit them in the, let's say O2. Now I do actually have an anti-personnel, we can disable that. I don't have a drone recovery arm, which would be super useful. But never mind. Oh, they burned out. Yeah, a drone recovery arm would mean that I wouldn't be losing drones. Unless I'm just not. Is that different for Captain's Edition? No, wait, that's gone up because I got a drone from the scrap. It's fine. I know what I'm, you know, I know how the game works. No, I don't. I really don't. We've already proved that. I could try not to engage, but where's the fun in that? Oh, okay, that's had a negative effect. Whoops! And we don't even get to fight them. Well, that's fine. We're steadily making our way towards the exit anyway. Can figure out where that. Okay, so we have to jump down from there. I'm trying to hit as many nodes as I can, basically. So here we go, here's some blue text. options, which is useful. We jump into the middle of a plasma storm and we can basically search the wrecks. I'm guessing that's because I have a maxed out skill pilot, but I can also... I'll just go with the adaptive gel suits. Oh, the lack of detection equipment allows debris to crash into your ship. Well, I got some stuff, but we also took some hull points. But that's offset by the fact that we actually got some scrap in the process, so that's all fine. We're not seeing any stores, which would be useful. We can offer to lead them out the nebula. Okay, I wonder if that will give us a quest marker. No, that's fine. That was just a single in-system event, apparently. So if I can probably hit these and then jump down there and do it that way. Prepare to be boarded! Oh no! Well, I'll stick on my anti-personnel droid. And oh, they've jumped into the room that already has the most people in it, which is kind of sucky for them. Now my anti-personnel droid is, yeah. So the crew's pretty trained at this point, but apparently I have a puncture in that room. Some of them are there just as extra bodies, and you know, you have people manning the doors and the cameras. It basically gives you an extra one, kind of thing. Right. Actually, I think we'd rather have the clone bay active than that thing. And disable our personnel drone. I could also, you know, I could have a repair drone active at the same time, but I think the defense drone is more useful, because for all my shields, you know, you encounter an enemy that has lots of missiles, and that can be super annoying. Oh, well, there's a store, but do I actually have time to get to the store? Because it's a bit of a dead end, so I'd have to jump there and then jump back, and don't know if I want to risk it. Yeah, by the time I've jumped through all these nodes. Okay, I'm not going to risk it. Hopefully we'll find a store in the next sector. Let's just converse with the crew, and nothing special happened there. A black market weapons trader. I can just buy an unknown weapon. Special tech. Buy a recon drone. Okay, so there's various different types of drones I could have. A high-tech boarding drone. That's a bit tempting. Only 65 scrap as well. Because I've got the anti-personnel laser. That might work quite well with the boarding drone. The anti-personnel drone it's not strictly necessary. I have quite a few crew members that are just kind of standing around waiting to bash intruders, so we might actually try that. Okay, an ion intruder drone. Interesting. So let's fit that in instead of our anti-personnel drone. We're you know, going to sell some of these things next time we do get a chance to at a store. That could be interesting, but that'll be... we actually do need to upgrade our drone system before we can use that, which is something that we can do. Although I would need to temporarily yank power from somewhere else to use that at the same time, but that's not really an issue so much. Yeah, I think I'd be cutting it rather too close with the rebels. They are getting a little close. Oh, here's another new thing in Captain's Edition. Well, it's new to Captain's Edition, but it's not new in Captain's Edition. It's been in since the start, I think. Stations, essentially. You can fight space stations. Okay, so we're not going to fight them, however. We could... I mean, we could fight them regardless. They are pirates. But I think we'll just we'll be on our way in this particular instance. So rather than jump on, oh, well, we could do, you know, use the jump relay. So this is the option that I was ignoring for so long. Let's do that. and jump to the next sector. Oh, here we go. Here's the actual sector map. So the sector map still exists. That's interesting. So we can go through neutral sectors, hostile sector. It didn't give me this choice the first time, I don't think. So I never got the option of going down that path, whatever that path would have taken me through. Let's go through this uncharted sector here. I'll probably spend a bit longer going through it, but you know, I'm not doing the whole thing. As I say, this is not a playthrough, because looking at the actual wiki, you know, saying, oh yeah, an individual playthrough can take, you know, 10 hours or more, depending on how long you want to spend at it. A regular FTL playthrough, you know, 3 to 4 hours, so you can see how this infinite add-on does rather change the pace of the game a bit. So rather than jumping right to the store, we'll have a look at these sectors that are right next door. Rebel Scouts, that's fine, we don't need that there. We can have a poke with the artillery laser. I'll show you what that does. I hit that. Oh, I should have hit the. You know what? Okay, let's let that charge in. Yeah, I didn't notice they had 2 shields. So let's let the charge laser actually go up, because that should knock down the shields. And I wasn't quick enough. It missed anyway, but still. I don't think they can actually hurt me with their weaponry, not while I've got 3 shields. So basically it's just pew pew pew. And then it still missed! Let's go back to the missiles. The missiles are a little bit more reliable, I think. And that's charged up, and pew pew pew. So this part's really not any different. One of the submods does in fact add essentially procedural weapon generation, but it's kind of recommended that you only use it for the player, because the weapons it generates can be of massively, wildly different power levels. Oh, that was impressive. I think we made it mad. Just need 1 hit. There we go. So yeah, you can do that. You can. It almost sounds like the Fallout 4 mod, where you can mix and match basically all weapon parts and come up with some hilariously weird combinations. It sounds like it just does that on a procedural level. So that was a bit tempting, but I decided to keep it sort of vanilla-esque. I say vanilla-esque because Captain's Edition itself adds something like 100+ new weapons as well. So it's definitely a bit more than you would get from just the standard game. A pirate ship. We can just attack them. Oh, there's a blue text option though, and there's no need for aggression. Filthy pirates. No, we're going to attack them. The filthy pirates shall not be allowed to live. So what we'll do, I'm going to hack their. We're going to try and knock out the crew on this one, just because why not? And what I can do is, well, the pilot's definitely going to be there, and then we can, because that'll injure the pilot, and then we can try and knock out the pilot. The problem is we can't see where anybody is, because we don't have good enough camera systems to overcome the nebula, and they're being hacked anyway at the moment. But if I just keep knocking away at them, and also depriving them of oxygen, that's proving to be rather effective actually. That's plummeting, good grief. There's basically always going to be someone on the pilot station, so it's a safe place to aim. The ship was apparently carrying information about the surrounding beacons. That's very useful. And a bit of scrap, but no fuel. Normally if you knock out a crew you get more scrap, but you don't necessarily get as many parts if I'm remembering correctly. Right, so there's actually a distress beacon up there, but we'll go to the store first. I don't know if we'll have time to get to that distress beacon. I think I'll just go to the end of this sector and that'll be the video, basically. Right, so this is one of the augment cargoes, essentially, but we're just going to see what he's got available. Crew teleporter? That's actually a little bit tempting. Healing cluster burst. That's also tempting, but I don't know if we need it really. So that's one of these ones that gains damage every time it hits, but I'll have to knock down the shields first. So, a shield overcharge drone, which sounds kind of useful, but there's only so many, like I've only got 2 drone slots. We're definitely getting rid of that, and I think we're getting rid of the system repair drone. The anti-personnel drone, maybe it'll be useful, maybe not. I like the idea of sending people over to other people's ships, though. That combined with the anti-personnel laser could be very useful. I don't know. The supercharger drone is like the super shield is that's a useful thing, but if it's just gonna pop up every so often, the actual defense drone is much more reliable. So we'll keep that. As far as weapons go, though, I think I'm fairly good with what I've got. I mean, that one does sound tempting, but it's not really necessary. The artillery beam, by the way, you can, because in normal FTL and still in Captain's Edition, it's the Federation cruiser type that comes with the artillery system. You can put artillery on any ship if you can buy it, but as it says there, it stops the save games from working, so then you have to just do a straight run to the end. So yeah, I've not done it yet. The teleporter is very tempting, though. I don't know what else I would... Yeah, ship's final system slot. We'll go for a teleporter. So we're going to have to start seriously juggling our power bars at this point. But between the drone control and we'll definitely want to upgrade that as well. But I'm not always going to use not the drone control, the hacking station, so it gives me some spare power to play with. So I've spent a lot of my scrap. There's another store right there, which might also have really tasty stuff, but let's jump around and maybe try out our teleporter. Although not on an automated rebel turret. That looks like a missile thing. Okay, as that does look like a missile thing, let's get a defense drone. And where's the teleporter? There we go. I'll leave those guys stationed there, I think, for now. We don't need that. So we'll just hit him with a missile. Pow. The AI is trying to surrender. This has happened to me once before. I actually had an AI crew member for a while. But in this case... oh, that's not good. In this case, no surrender, no mercy. We don't have any room for any extra crew members anyway. Well, that's a nasty missile, because apparently we can't block it. Whatever kind of missile that is. So we just wasted a drone part. Hooray! Never mind. There we go. And... I guess we'll jump down that way first. Black Market's weapons trader. Ignore the ship. Don't particularly want to pick super unnecessary fights. Well, there's definitely going to be a ship there. I'm trying not to be too much of a jerk in this one. Prepare to chase them! Right, this time it actually was successful. And what we can do is we can power the teleporter, and we even have enough for that. So, oh, we can't actually drone them yet. We'll have to knock out their drone control, essentially. Which I can't do because they've got defense drone. Of course that's a defense drone. Why did you try and send missiles when they have defense drone? Right, anyway. I'm going to teleport in there. They don't actually have any kind of healing bay or anything like that. So this is just, you know, regular weak puny humans versus what are the insect guys called again? I can't remember, but absolutely no challenge whatsoever. That was a bit of a brain fart though. Of course I can't hit them with missiles. Of course I can't. Anyway, so that works. Of course the downside is that I can't heal them specifically. I have to just go from jump to jump, and that will heal them. I do need to upgrade my clone bay at some point soon as well, because that gives a bigger heal essentially. Attack the ship! And that doesn't look like, yeah, that's a defense drone. That doesn't look like it's going to be a huge challenge. Again, they don't have any kind of med bay or cloning bay, so we might send over 2 different crew members maybe? It's the disadvantage of not having the oh no, wait, we've also got, of course we do, the intruder drone. What can we steal a level of? Send an intruder drone. Oh, it got shot down. Of course it did. I'm just, wow, my brain is okay, we're doing well. No, of course that was going to happen. They have a defense drone. I know how to play this game, I swear I do. Just not right now, apparently. Pew 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 pew. Right, who's the healthier of the two? I'll just send them over to the cockpit area. We've already injured at least one person there. And they've got one more crewman that's running in. Now, I don't know, if I lose somebody, I think they just pop back on the clone bay. I'm kind of not willing to risk it to find out. Anyway, there we go. So this is now a thing I can do. I have multiple ways of tackling enemy ships at this point, which is quite nice. I don't know why I'm having such brain farts with, like, defense drones shoot down missiles, they shoot down incoming drones, they shoot down hacking drones. It's not complicated, but apparently it is. Right, how do we get to the exit? Okay, we can do it from that point there. I have time to do 1 or 2. You know, I have to slightly double back on myself. I won't be able to go to the following sector anyway. I don't have enough fuel, I don't think. Okay, nothing interesting from our Mantis crewman there. Let's jump there, and then we'll basically jump back the way we came and get to the exit, and then that will be the episode. A repair trained individual, but no, that's fine. We could. Should we attack this one? I'm going to be a jerk and attack this one, just so I can show you what it's like attacking a station, basically. So that's definitely some kind of missile thing. So let's get the thingy drone and oh, we can. What do we want to knock out? We can send the hacking drone there, and that actually gives us exactly their weapon recharge time. They can go ha 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 and be a jerk. Right, so I'll send the missiles over on the shield room, and we'll pew 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 that over too, and then we'll go. Oh look, you're trying to repair. Well, this can actually cause hull breaches, which is quite useful. So we can just keep basically targeting the rooms that are being. Oh, they're trying to surrender. Well, I was a jerk and I attacked them just to show you what attacking a station was like, so you know what? We will accept their honourable surrender. Although you can still choose, as you saw in that option there, you can still choose to be a jerk anyway, which is kind of funny. You can still attack them even after you've accepted their surrender. Right. So let's jump onwards. The rebels are ever advancing. A Lanius craft. Interesting, but well, we're a Lanius craft. We're strange silvery beings. This is, you know, this is a Lanius ship with Lanius crew. So I don't know. We're calling ourselves strange, apparently. Oh, nothing in this sector. I didn't mean to pick that option, but never mind. It's fine. Totally know what I'm doing, as we've established. So, oh. Well, this is, by the way, I've just realised this is an ion drone, so we could potentially use this, but I don't know, is it worth expending a drone part? We're starting to run a little bit low. Anyway, right, let's get my Lanius guys both in that room for now, and we'll just basically target there. No, I just said I wasn't going to. No, I don't particularly want to use drone parts. I could send my Lanius crew members over. And, oh. Pew pew pew, but I will still have those annoying people to deal with. Right, so. Oh, well, there we go, someone just got knocked out. They will get was named from the clone bay, but the annoying part is that they lose experience, essentially. So yeah, they've lost a bit of weapons experience in the process. But that's fine. Actually, we might as well have them in there. And also, we do need to actually finish off that at some point. So, that's what happens with a clone bay if you've never ever encountered that before. So, onto the exit. And as I don't have enough fuel to advance anyway, we'll just be jumping to another sector and you'll get to see exactly what that looks like. So, there we are. So, oh, wow, okay, one more fight apparently. And they're actually, oh, that's super annoying. We'll disrupt their mind control doohickey, because that is super annoying when your crew all start attacking each other. Right, so we want that active, and shall we have a go? Let's have a go with the ion intruder thing, and we'll see if this was worth it. So it just goes in and randomly ionizes systems. I don't know if that's the most super useful thing. We do need to lock out that, however. Pew, and they can't reclone themselves. So this sort of works. Oh. No! Oh well, we killed our own crew members. Who will, you know, re-wasnify, but that's still kind of annoying. Right, so that's good to know. Testing it out on a drone that, you know, the anti-personnel laser will blap your own people. Anyway, that kind of worked, though. Right. So, yeah, Telford's lost some fighting ability and some repair ability. They don't get completely wiped out, but it's a bit annoying. So here we are in a new sector, and here we are at the end of the video as well. So that's FTL Captain's Edition with the Infinite submod as it is in 2018. Well worth a check out. And Into the Breaches, that's okay as well, but it's more of a kind of puzzle game, as I think I said earlier, and it's less my cup of tea than FTL is, but it's still all right. It's still perhaps worth checking out, or at the very least checking out other people's videos of. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, you can do all the usual things down below it, and as always, stay tuned for more.